The film opens with a flashback of a kid named Bruce Wayne. Little Bruce is seen playing with his friend Rachel outside Bruce's home. Bruce mistakenly falls into a well where a swarm of bats attacks him and leave him terrified. Rachel goes and alerts Bruce's parents. His father, Thomas Wayne, comes out to save him. Bruce is the son of the famous billionaire Thomas Wayne of Gotham City. Thomas is said to have built and modernized the entire city. Thomas also has a soft heart and is keen on financing and supporting many low-scale businesses and their projects. One night, the Waynes visit a theater where Bruce is reminded of the bat attack and makes his parents leave in the middle of the act. As the family takes the back exit to leave, a robber shows up and shoots both parents in an attempt to steal Bruce's mother's diamond necklace. Bruce is left orphaned and in the hands of Alfred, his butler. Bruce holds himself accountable for his parents' murder and becomes deeply depressed. A day after his parents' funeral, the police catch the robber and get a verification from little Bruce. This brings us to the current time when Bruce and Rachel are seen attending a court bail for Joe Chill, who killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. Joe's lawyer demands Joe's bail since he has fulfilled the maximum years of punishment that he was given. The lawyer also baits the judge by saying that he needs Joe's help in busting another criminal named Falcone. Bruce is not happy with Joe's bail, so he decides to shoot him with his pistol, but Falcone's assassin does the job and blows Joe's head off. When Bruce tells this to Rachel, she becomes disappointed and talks some sense into him. She reminds him of how his father preferred law over crime, and how would he feel if he were here to witness what his son was doing. This brings a change in Bruce's mindset. He promises himself to stay within the lawful boundaries. Bruce decides to approach Falcone and threaten him straight up, but he gets his men to beat Bruce and tells him that he has the power of fear, which makes him stronger enough to not get scared by the law or rich people like him. Bruce again finds a lesson in Falcone's words and runs away from his home for 7 years. He gets into a criminal lifestyle just to see how fearful a person can get when he tries to commit a crime. 7 years later, Bruce is seen in jail for one of the many crimes he had committed in the past few years. The jailmates hate him and want him dead. They gang up on Bruce and try to take him down, but he beats all of them. Soldiers are sent to tame Bruce and put him in solitary confinement. While rotting in solitary, a man named Henry shows up and offers him to join the League of Shadows if he wants to fight crime. He also claims that he knows who he really is and why he's gotten himself into a criminal lifestyle. Bruce sees a glimmer of hope and agrees. Henry gets him out of jail and instructs him to show up at a temple that is on top of a snowy mountain. He asked him to show up with a blue orchid. Upon finally reaching, Bruce is met by Ras, the pioneer of Shadow League. He tells Bruce about his league and how it fights crimes and gives justice to those who don't have a voice and can't get justice. Henry also shows up and becomes Bruce's mentor. He trains his moves and reflexes and teaches him how to disappear into shadows and fight anyone regardless of how much power or strength they hold. The day comes when Bruce is fully trained to become a mercenary. His first mission is to slay a powerful person who's illegally claimed the land of poor people. Bruce doesn't agree with slaying someone as this goes against the law. Henry tells him he will not include him in the league unless he assassinates the man. Here, Bruce decides to part ways and carry his own agenda. The Shadow League ninjas try to stop Bruce from escaping, but he beats them and vanishes into thin air, just as Henry taught him. However, he finds it disrespectful to ditch Henry because he was his mentor. Out of pity, Bruce takes Henry with him on his way out and leaves him in a safe space. He is then met by his butler Alfred in a private jet. Upon getting back home, he sees a bat in his room and takes Alfred to see where they're coming from. He finds a tunnel that leads to an entire hideout place, which his grandfather built during the Civil War for multiple reasons. Bruce becomes thrilled and makes that hideout his private place to work on his secret projects. He goes to his father's enterprise where the associates are more than happy to give him back his father's throne, but instead, he insists on giving him a small place in the business since he doesn't wish to run his father's business. People are moved by his gesture, so they send him to their inventions department and hopes for Bruce to find it worthwhile. Bruce is introduced to the invention department's head Lucius Fox. He shows Bruce around on his first day. Fox shows him some expensive and super durable suits that his company built for the police department, but unfortunately, they were too pricey for the police and their production had to be stopped. He also shows Bruce a supercar, which isn't any less than a Panzer. Unfortunately, the car was never approved, but Fox claims that the car has no flaws and performs all its tasks efficiently. Bruce approves the car for himself, but asks Fox to make it black instead of camouflaged. He gives the supercar a name and a separate identity too. He calls it the Batmobile. In the next scene, Bruce is seen painting a superhero suit black. He believes that a lot of people know his identity because of his father, so it would be a lot easier if he fights crimes with a new identity that will never be bribed or come under anyone's influence. Hence, he makes his new personality after a bat. Since he was taught to fight and control his fear since birth, he realizes that he was afraid of bats, so he turns his fear into his new identity and calls himself the Batman. As a first attempt, he goes out in the dark and has a word with James Gordon, a police officer. He asks him to reveal the reason why no law hesitates to punish a criminal like Falcone. James tells him that the entire city is a sellout. Everyone gets under the influence of Falcone because he has unlimited power that's driven by fear. Bruce claims that he is going to change this and make this city a better place, but without him, he cannot do that. He gets James on his side and disappears on him like a bat. He then shows up outside a shipping compartment where Falcone, among other criminal associates, has a container where he's smuggling drugs. Bruce throws bat-shaped boomerangs called batarangs. The thugs become clueless to see the batarangs because it was a new concept to them. Bruce starts taking down the thugs one by one and finally reaches Falcone. He brings him back to his spot and hangs him on a giant spotlight to signal the cops. Revealing his crimes as an open book, Batman vanishes. The next day, the court is preparing a hearing against Falcone where Rachel, Bruce's friend, and an honest lawyer is going to prove Falcone's guilty of his crimes. Falcone gets to meet his lawyer and threatens to help him escape, or else he will blow up his secret that he uses his drugs and other harsh chemical to treat his mental patients. The lawyer puts on his scarecrow mask and induces a gas in the air which makes Falcone act lunatic. He uses this as a way to claim Falcone a mental patient who shouldn't be punished for his crimes, but to get admitted in a mental asylum. Court approves this, which hurts Rachel a lot. She shows up at the lawyer's lab and confronts him for what he's done. The lawyer goes by the name Scarecrow. He is pure evil. He shows Rachel his people mixing a toxic chemical into Gotham's pipeline, which will make everyone go crazy. Rachel feels threatened and tries to run away, but Scarecrow blows the same toxic gas he had blown on Falcone. This makes Rachel hallucinate and see her fears come to life. Subsequently, a microwave emitter is revealed. It is a machine used to turn water vapors into gas. Scarecrow plans on using the machine to turn the chemical he just mixed in the water pipeline into gas and let the entire Gotham go bananas. Thankfully, Bruce shows up as Batman and saves Rachel from Scarecrow's wrath. He also injects the antidote to the gas that was blown on Rachel. The antidote was given to Bruce by Fox, his equipment provider. Finally, Rachel gets back to a normal state. That night is also Bruce's birthday, so the social elites pay a visit at his mansion. In a huge crowd, Bruce sees Henry approaching him. Henry reveals his true identity, saying he is the pioneer of the League of Shadows and he really wants to end crimes from the root. This is why he got Scarecrow to transport the microwave emitter into Gotham so that he could use it to enchant the entire Gotham City into killing one another and put an end to a corrupt city from its roots. Bruce still believes that killing the criminal is not the solution, whereas Henry sticks to his beliefs. He warns Bruce to evacuate his mansion before he blows everyone up. Bruce musters the courage to spill some harsh truths about society. He accuses them of being nice to him just because he is a billionaire. He successfully pisses the people off and makes them evacuate his place. Henry's sidekicks start a fire in the mansion which slowly starts spreading out. Henry, in a regretting tone, says that he had never seen someone so skillful and sharp as Bruce. He was so impressed with the fast learning that he wanted to make him the head of the League of Shadows so that he could carry out his missions and eliminate entire corrupt cities because he believes the punishment for a criminal is death. As the fire becomes out of control, Henry and his people lead Bruce to die in the fire. Worrisome, Alfred shows up and rescues Bruce from under a giant wooden log that's caught on fire. Now, the main plot unveils itself. Henry puts on a mask and decides to take the microwave emitter inside Wayne Enterprises because that is the main place that is connected to the entire water supply system. He uses the flyover train that was financed by Thomas Wayne. He takes the train because it is directly linked with Wayne Enterprises. Bruce, on the other hand, takes out his Batmobile and pays a visit to James, the police officer. Unfortunately, Henry is somewhat successful in his mission. He has linked the machine to some other water pipeline that is supplying water to half the city. He uses the machine to turn Scarecrow's added chemicals into gas vapors. People start seeing their worst fears in the people next to them and start fighting, which leads to chaos. Bruce instructs James to take his Batmobile and destroy the flyover train's pillars, whereas he decides to take down Henry one-on-one. James successfully uses the Batmobile to take down the pillars from a certain point, which causes the tracks to fall down. Henry and Batman have an epic level fight. Since Bruce has observed and learned from society and trained from Henry, he appears to have the upper hand. He overpowers Henry and waits for the point from where James has taken down the tracks. When the point finally arrives, Bruce jumps out of the train, leaving Henry to die in the train ruins. Now that the problem was solved, a criminal was fought. Bruce pays attention to his father's business. He finds out that the Wayne Enterprise has publicized its entire shares and is a public corporation. He makes the wise decision and buys major shares of his father's enterprise and becomes a young CEO of Wayne Enterprise. Acknowledging Fox's true potential, Bruce gives him a higher post in his company since he couldn't have done anything without his technological provision. As he takes care of the business and gradually puts things back on track, the film ends. In the credits, it is revealed that the city still has a lot of crime to fight, and there is a lot of work that is waiting for both Bruce and Batman.